Hey everyone, Nick Berlin with Berlin Builds, also Berlin Homes. Today we're out at this job site and this is episode 2 of how to build a home. And you can see we have a hole that has been dug. Now this is important. Here where I'm building in Utah, typically we do full basements. It has to do with like how deep the frost layer is. And at some points you're just already so far down, it just kind of makes sense to just keep going down a little farther to get a basement. So right here, we're gonna be doing 9-foot tall foundation walls. This is one of those choices that you're gonna need to make, or I guess if you're building it for yourself, or if you're gonna talk with your client, you need to decide if you're gonna do an 8-foot tall foundation wall or a 9-foot tall foundation wall. And there is a common misconception with that. If you have an 8-foot foundation wall, you do not have an 8-foot tall basement, because you have a 4-inch concrete slab that's gonna sit on top of that footing, and that's gonna take you down about 7-8. You're gonna gain a little bit with 1.5 inches at the top, and then you're going to lose a little bit, so you end up right about 7-8 is about the finished height. So same thing with a 9-foot, it'd be about 8-8. Another really important consideration is how high do you want your house to sit in the lot. So that's something that you need to talk with your excavator about and decide, do I want my foundation wall sticking 3 feet out of the ground? Do I want it sticking 1 foot out of the ground? It's something that you need to figure out. And one thing to be cognizant of is, do you have enough fall between where your underground plumbing is going to stick out from your house to the sewer where it can actually drain? Because if you don't, you have to put in a pump, which is kind of expensive, and there's some maintenance involved in that. So like on this project, for instance, we held it at this height right here, so that way we'd have plenty of fall going to, this is actually a septic system that we're putting in on this one. But anyways, it's just one of those things that you need to make sure of. So make sure you know how high out of the ground you want your foundation walls to be, how tall you want them to be. You also need to know the fall of your sewer to whatever you're going, septic, or you need to know the fall from your house to the sewer for septic or for tying into traditional sewer. Another really important step with this is to have a soils engineer come out and test your soil to make sure it's not collapsible. This tested really well. This is some good dirt we got here. So you can see over here where this, let me make sure I'm pointing in the right direction. It's a little weird pointing this, sorry. Over here, you can see we've actually stepped that up for the garage, because we're not gonna be digging out and doing a basement under the garage. So the soil is good enough here where we don't have to excavate all of the dirt out of the garage, which is gonna save the client some money. On my own personal home, when I built it, I had collapsible soils. So we had to not only excavate all of the garage out, we had to go full height foundation walls for my garage. And then we had to excavate out an additional 18 inches of material and then backfill it with 18 inches of road base. So you need to make sure that you have a soils engineer come out and test your dirt to make sure that your house is going to be built on the rock and not the sand, if you know what I mean. Once the excavation is done and you have your soils observation, that's when you're ready to start doing your footings. And you can see we've already got the footings marked out here. This site has been pinned, is what we call it. You can have your civil engineer come out and pin it, or sometimes, this is my footing guy, he does his own pinning. So make sure that you know which way that's going to go for you. But when it's pinned, it's really important to come and check everything and make sure it's all looking right according to the plan. Another thing that you need to make sure of is that you don't have a pin that's like boop right up there on the bank. We don't have that, luckily, this time. That has happened in the past, but it's one of those things that you want to check, because if you don't and the footing guy shows up and he goes, hey, I can't put my footing on the side of your excavation, that just doesn't work. So these are different things that you need to check for. For example, right here we have this one that is really close to the side of our excavation. It's about 1 foot on this side and about 18 inches on this side. I actually have the excavator coming back out, and he's gonna widen out this corner for us just a little bit to give the footing and foundation guys some working room where they can actually walk around this and move their forms, pack their forms, all that good stuff. In different areas of the country, you're gonna see your excavation potentially look a little different. Here, we're able to do pretty much a straight wall of excavation just because of the soil conditions. Other places, you might be ramping it up where you go out 45 and then over and then 45 and over, just to be safe. You don't want to have this dirt fall on you. That's a quick way to die. That's actually a very quick way to die. So it's one of those things that it's going to vary a little bit region by region, but something that you need to be aware of. If you're not sure on it, make sure you reach out to your excavator and your soils engineer, and they can give you a really good idea of what the conditions are like in the area that you're building. A couple other things that you want to have on your site at this point is a toilet. We have a toilet, so that's important. Also, you should have your temp power pedestal here, and you should be hopefully having the glass, the actual meter, coming soon or on at this point. As a builder, this is a really good sign right here. We've got our footing panels here and ready to go, the forms in essence, and yeah, it's rock and roll tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. This is episode 2 of how to build a custom home, and make sure you follow for more episodes. Next one will be on footings and foundations.